The first person we're going to have up today is Kelly O'Sullivan, President of CUPE Local 4308. Kelly.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Get me on. Hello, everyone. I want to say thank you for coming out here today in the cold to stand in solidarity with the workers at Street Health and Gaetan Haro, who has been unjustly fired for speaking out and standing up for a union in this workplace. My name is Kelly O'Sullivan. I'm president of CUPE 4308. As I stand here today, I'm not going to pretend that I speak for all the workers at Street Health, because that's not the case any longer, shamefully. In April 2008, 16 workers here voted for a union and only 6 voted against it. Today, that can't be said any longer because a campaign of intimidation, interference, and coercion by an employer that made it clear from the day that we started trying to organize here that she didn't want a union in this workplace. She made it so clear for workers that she put it in writing for them so they could not be mistaken that a union was not supposed to come through these doors. Since that time, we've seen workers transferred to other agencies, miraculously funding transferred over. We've seen workers laid off and new workers hired instead to do their jobs. We have faced the ongoing interference and intimidation to the point that we had to file a labor board complaint to try to put a stop to what this employer was doing. Having captive mandatory staff meetings where the union sisters and brothers were berated and decertification was called for while the employer clapped in support of it. Decertification was attempted here, but it wasn't legally able to be done. And I have to tell you, in many ways, I'm surprised that I'm standing here still supporting any workers in this agency, given what this employer has been doing. I'm surprised that any worker would put up with what they've been having to deal with from this employer. But the fact is, I know why these workers are putting up with it. Because they believe in the programs and services. They believe in the heart of Street Health, and they're not going to allow someone at the top to take away what's needed in this community. I'm telling you now that CUPE 4308 is a union that stands in solidarity with people who are homeless and demands an end to homelessness. We stand for status for all in our community. We speak out and we demand the rates be raised for people on ODSP and welfare. We're also a union that wants to work with this employer and this board. That building, that house across the street is owned by Street Health. It sits empty and vacant. We want to work with this employer, with this community, with people who are homeless to open those doors across the street. Why are not programs and services running from there? If they need to sell it, sell it. But in the meantime, we could be doing things there. People could be getting warm there. They could be getting food. They could be getting ID. But instead, we have an employer that keeps the doors padlocked. I also want to tell you that CUPE 4308 is the union that will get a fair contract for these workers. Workers deserve a fair contract. Street Health prided itself on equity and social justice. We meet with the employer tomorrow at mediation. And this employer needs to see each and every one of you out here today, across the table from us tomorrow. That's what they need to remember, that we don't stand alone, that we have the community, that we have clients, service users, people who are homeless, labor, students, and allies standing with us, because we also face what's called a no board. The employer has chosen to call a no board, and workers face the possibility, this community faces the possibility of being locked out of this agency on Christmas Eve. and reassure you that we're here to provide the service and the doors won't be locked. But why do they want that kind of threat hanging over the heads of workers and also, importantly, hanging over the heads of people that need this vital service? If you are here to provide the service, why would you pull the trigger on a possible lockout unless you are intending to try to coerce workers to take a crappy contract? Well, I'm here to tell you that we won't. We'll stand up to your bullying, intimidation, and interference in this workplace, and we will stand strong with those workers that can't even be out here today to be with us. And CUPE 4308 will be down at 400 University Avenue tomorrow to demand a fair contract for workers at Street Health, to demand that Gaetan Haro continue his job out of the Street Health premises, to demand that the building, the house across the street, be open for programs and services of people who are homeless in this community. Thank you.